were the LA Clippers just hammering Nikola Jokic in the painted area in tonight's game. They were letting a lot of stuff go. And Adelman said, look, if that's how they're going to call this, then we're going to start playing it that way too. So Adelman was rightfully upset with the lack of calls for Nikola Jokic tonight. I mean, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Now, look, is that the reason the Nuggets lost this game? I don't think so. The reason the Nuggets lost this game is because they had 12 turnovers that resulted in 23 Clippers points. That was the reason the Nuggets lost this basketball game. In fact, they had 8 of those 12 were in the second quarter, where the Clippers ended up winning that quarter 33-29. The Nuggets actually got off to a pretty good start in the first quarter in this basketball game. They ended up winning that quarter. They were up 28-25 going into the second. Jamal Murray had 12 points in that first quarter, but he didn't score again in the first half. So it looked like Jamal Murray was going to go nuclear again based on how he started this basketball game. I thought he was, came out pretty confident shooting the basketball. And it's like, okay, here we go. Playoff Jamal is back for Game 6. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Now, I thought the Clippers actually did a pretty good job on Jamal Murray after that first quarter. They had Batum guarding him. They put Norman Powell on him at some points in the game. They put a lot of guys with a lot of size and length on Jamal Murray, and I think that bothered him in this basketball game. And it'll be interesting to see how the Nuggets will try to counter that coming up in Game 7, because it definitely, in my opinion, affected Jamal in a negative way. He had a couple of bad turnovers where he literally was trying to almost jump pass over these long, lanky defenders, and it would cause turnovers. So, look, this series, I said this after Game 1, this series had 7 games written all over it. And that's where we're headed. Now, this is the advantage of having home court advantage. The Nuggets will be able to play on their home floor in front of their home crowd coming up on Saturday at 5:30 to try to advance to round 2 to play the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, James Harden had an awful Game 5. And I was thinking to myself after that game, that's most likely going to be the worst game he'll have this series. He was much better for the Clippers tonight. He shoots 10 of 20 from the field. Okay, not great, but 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, and 28 points for James. He was very, very effective on his shooting tonight. I mean, he was very, very effective for the Clippers scoring the basketball. Kawhi Leonard is just unbelievably deadly from the mid-range. He was absolutely phenomenal tonight again. He shoots 11 of 22. Did take 8 three-pointers, which was actually kind of surprising to me. Only hit 2 of them, but he scored 27 points tonight for the Clippers. It was the Harden and Leonard show. In fact, Zubac, he shoots 5 of 6, but he only scores 10 points. I thought it actually, just overall production-wise, it was one of probably his worst game of the series, just production-wise, offensively for the Clippers. But he only took 6 shots and made 5 of them. So he was very efficient when he did shoot the basketball. I tell you what, Zubac, the amount that guy has improved over this offseason, it's I think I saw Nate Kreckman tweet this out. It's like, what kind of witchcraft has Zubac been doing over the offseason? Because he is a much improved basketball player. In fact, I think he was a finalist for Most Improved Player of the Year award. He's been fantastic in this series. He has found a way to at least bother Nikola Jokic. And honestly, of all the big men to guard Nikola Jokic over the years, Zubac is doing as good a job as anybody has. Now, he's not going to stop Nikola Jokic by any means, but Joker, you can tell, is getting a little frustrated when he's in the painted area. In fact, I think that's why he has been taking more outside shots, because Zubac is, really bothering him in the painted area. Now, again, Jamal Murray is the key for this team. If Jamal Murray's playing well, the Nuggets are going to win. If he has a game like he did tonight where he's just kind of okay, it's going to be really tough. And tonight, Jamal, although he had a really good first quarter, he kind of got shut down after that. I mean, he had 12 points at the end of the first, like I said, and ended up with 21 for the game. So, not ideal. I mean, 9 points, quarters 2 through 4 for Jamal. I thought Christian Braun had his best game of the series on both ends of the floor. I thought he was really good. In fact, in that third quarter where the Clippers dominated the Nuggets, Christian Braun was the only dude that could score the basketball for a big chunk of that third quarter. So it was good to see Christian getting involved in the offense, and not just in transition. He had a couple of threes. He was hitting some really good, well contested layups. So that was good to see, and hopefully he can continue that coming up in Game 7 on Saturday. How about this, everybody? The Avs get a win over the Stars tonight at Ball Arena. We're going to have dual Game 7s coming up on Saturday. That has never happened before between these two teams. They've never played in a Game 7 on the same day. So the Nuggets play at 5:30. I haven't seen if the NHL has announced a time for Avs Stars. If they're smart, they'll put that game in the early afternoon window so that thing's wrapped up by the time that the Nuggets and Clippers play. I hope the league does that. That would be very, very smart for them to do that. So, look, tough loss for the Nuggets tonight. Again, the turnovers just crushed them. And it seems like every single time this team has double-digit turnovers, they lose. And when they're under that double-digit turnover marker, it's a pretty good sign that the Nuggets are most likely going to win this game, win a game. And it's the same issues that continue to plague the Nuggets when they lose basketball games. The turnovers tonight were just really egregious. And not only were they bad turnovers, but they led to 23 Clippers points. And you just can't have that. Whereas the Nuggets only scored 10 points off of 7 Clippers turnovers. I mean, there's your ball game right there. So, and this was a 6-point game. You lose the turnover battle as far as points scored by 13. So even if you can cut down those turnovers, points off turnovers from 23 to 16, they probably win this game. So, Michael Porter Jr. also had a slow start to tonight's game. I mean, he didn't score in the first half. His first bucket came on a three-pointer in the third quarter. Look, I find it really difficult to be hard on Michael Porter Jr. right now because of what he's dealing with as far as his shoulder injury. The fact that he has gutted it out through these playoffs has garnered a lot of respect from me for Michael Porter Jr. because it's a painful injury, and he is gutting it out. And in fact, in Game 5, I was shocked how well he played in that game. He definitely struggled tonight, and we'll see what he's able to do in Game 7. All right, we'll hit a quick timeout. When we come back, I believe Chris Dempsey is going to call into the show. We'll get Dempsey's thoughts on the Nuggets loss to the Clippers tonight and what to expect coming up in Game 7. That's all coming up next right here on In the Paint.
15-point lead for LA. Back the other way comes Christian Braun. Braun goes to the left hand. He's inside the arc. Guarded by Zubac. Takes a three. Got it again! 88-76. Christian Braun keeping the Nuggets into this thing. Just get a stop. Back the other way comes James Harden. Only a minute left to go in the third, but it's an important minute here.
That was Jason Kosmiski on the call. Yeah, Christian Braun was fantastic in the third quarter tonight for the Denver Nuggets. He really had it going on the offensive end. He was their best offensive player in that third quarter. But overall, it was a pretty bad third quarter for the Nuggets. In fact, the Clippers took a 90-79 lead going into the fourth after the Clippers only had a 1-point halftime lead. So the Nuggets get outscored mightily there in the third quarter. And then in the fourth, the Nuggets actually did make a pretty valiant comeback effort, and they really had a chance to get right back into this game. The Clippers miss a shot. Nuggets get possession. Russ flies down the court. I believe Joker passed it to him, and he misses a layup that would have made it a 4-point game, and then the Clippers go on the other end. And right away, I was screaming at my TV, I guarantee you the Clippers score here, and they did. They hit a three on the other end after Russ missed a pretty easy layup, if we're being honest. I mean, that's a 5-point swing right there. That really could have made this a very close and interesting finish for the Nuggets. And then Nikola Jokic misses a layup that would have made it a 3-point game, and there's your ball game, folks. So, yeah, the Nuggets' lack of execution down the stretch tonight, I thought really hurt them. Adelman, Vic was reporting on TV that in the timeouts, Adelman just kept having to remind these guys to, calm down, trust what we're doing out there. And it did seem like I felt like the Nuggets were a little antsy in the first half, but in that third quarter, they were very lackadaisical. And I thought the Clippers in that third quarter came out with a really good pep in their step. And, that was the ball game right there. So tough loss for the Nuggets. By the way, Romy Bean of CBS 4, Channel 4, is tweeting that the Avs Stars Game 7 will start at 6. I mean, what are we doing here? Seriously. So the Nuggets and Clippers Game 7 at Ball Arena will start at 5:30, and then the Avs and Stars in Dallas will start at 6. This is unbelievable. I mean, truly ridiculous that the leagues would do this. And I know they've got other games that potentially could be happening on that day, but seriously, why NBA and NHL? This makes no sense. You couldn't make these games 3 hours apart from each other. Seriously. That absolutely makes no sense to me and just drives me insane. It's unfair to the fan base of both of these teams. Just ridiculous that they did that. I honestly, I saw that and I could not believe it. So, I mean, it is what it is. They're not going to change it now. So, Vic was tweeting about it. Vic said they don't care about Denver fans, apparently. 2 Game 7s a half hour apart. The hell are we doing here? Yeah, Vic said it perfect. It's just, this makes no sense whatsoever to have these games only a half an hour apart from each other. None whatsoever. But I guess the leagues just don't care about Denver fans. I'm sorry, Mile High City. Unbelievable. Okay, if you want to reach the show, the Schomp Mazda text line is wide open for you. 303-504-0925. Same with the hotline, 303-504-0925 if you want to call in and give me your thoughts on the Nuggets loss to the Clippers, what you're expecting for Game 7, and all of that good stuff. It is down to this, Game 7 against the Clippers on Saturday at Ball Arena. Ticket holds are being released all the time, so visit nuggets.com/playoffs to buy tickets, but only one sports radio station is giving them away. Tune in to Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 tomorrow all day for Keywords on the 20s for your chance to win tickets to Game 7. Your home for Mile High Playoffs is Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. So make sure to tune in tomorrow all day on the 20s and get qualified for your chance to be going to Ball Arena to see the Nuggets taking on the LA Clippers. It's going to be a fun game. What am I expecting in Game 7? I'm expecting Jamal Murray to be playoff Jamal Murray. I really am. He's a big-time player. We've seen him do it many, many times in the past. It would not surprise me at all if he goes for 35+. I think if Jamal can get to 30 points in that game, the Nuggets no doubt will win that basketball game. You're going to have to get something out of Michael Porter Jr. He doesn't have to go off for 20, but can he get you 12 to 15? I think if Michael can do that, be in that 12 to 15 range, Jamal can be close to 30, and then just let Nikola Jokic be Nikola Jokic, I think that's what will really seal the victory for the Denver Nuggets. But it's going to be tough, and they're going to have to figure out a way to try to slow down James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. Like I said, Game 5 was James Harden's worst game of the series, and I really don't think that he's going to have that bad of a game again in Game 7. He was awesome tonight, and I don't see that happening. And Kawhi has just been super consistent in this series. I mean, the guy's 33 years old, and he is still as good as ever. And I said this at the beginning of the series, but you almost forgot just how darn good Kawhi Leonard is because he has been dealing with so many injuries over the last couple of years. He just hasn't played that much basketball. But when he's on the floor and he's healthy, he is still easily a top 10, maybe top 5 player in the NBA. I mean, that's how good this guy is. He's really incredible. Okay, let's get to some of your text here from the 744. Excuse me. I don't know how they can beat any of the other playoff teams, including the ones that have been knocked out, if they are struggling this bad. Oh, this is for the Avs. Okay. Hey, we'll take your Avs text too. That's cool. Spring and Raj are doing Avs on digital, so make sure to tune into them as well, as the Avs just got an awesome 7-4 victory over the Dallas Stars at Ball Arena tonight. They trailed going into the third period by a goal too, so that was awesome to see. From my guy Neil on the text line, hey yo, love the late night radio breakdown. I always listen after the games, especially the late ones. Really appreciate that from you, Neil. Yeah, we've been doing it all year, and we will be here for you for every single Avs and Nuggets playoff post-game shows right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Some other thoughts in Game 7. I don't think Nikola Jokic is going to have to go nuclear. As long as Jamal is pouring in on the offensive end, I don't think Joker has to have like a 40-point game. In fact, you've heard me say this many, many times on this show, but I feel like the Nuggets are at their best when Nikola Jokic doesn't have to be their primary scorer. Now, look, sometimes he has to be because either Jamal and Michael and AG or one of the three or two of the three or all three of them aren't going. And if they're not going, Joker understands that he's got to take over scoring the basketball. But when this team is at their best, like in Game 5, Joker is distributing, and the others, as I call them, are the ones scoring the basketball. So if Joker can go for, 20 to 25 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, Jamal gets 30, and Michael can get 12 to 15, I think the Nuggets have a really good shot at winning that game. And Aaron Gordon, too, obviously. I don't want to leave AG or Christian Braun out. AG was, I thought, actually pretty good tonight as well. He was 9 of 16 from the field with 19 points. Now, he did just shoot 1 of 6 from 3. I'd like to see him get inside a little bit more because he's been really effective in this series when he is bullying dudes down underneath the rim. And that's how he scored the vast majority of his points tonight. Now, a couple of his threes did come towards the end of the game when the Nuggets just had to shoot threes. So I get that. But I want to see Aaron Gordon go back into attack mode like we saw early on in tonight's game and like we've seen throughout this series. That's been I mean, the Clippers just don't have the bodies to throw at Aaron Gordon to stop him when he's down in the low post painted area and underneath the basket. I mean, he's just bullying dudes down there. Zubac is busy, running around trying to defend Nikola Jokic. So I do think that's something I would really hope to see in Game 7 for the Nuggets is just play some bully ball with Aaron Gordon as well. And then Christian Braun had an excellent third quarter. I thought he was their best player in that third quarter tonight. Can he build some momentum from that third quarter and carry that into Game 7 and be a reliable scoring option for the Nuggets? Now, an area I've been critical of, and in my opinion, rightfully so, of the Nuggets this year has been their bench, because their bench has not been good this year. I actually thought their bench was pretty good tonight. I mean, Russ poured in 14, Peyton Watson poured in 7. You get 20 or more points from your bench, you should win these games. But again, what killed the Nuggets tonight was the turnovers. 12 turnovers for 23 points. Now, 12 overall is actually not that big of a number. And I think it was Game 3 that the Nuggets had 20. So, 12's not a terrible number for this team. But the problem tonight was the Clippers capitalized on basically every single one of the Nuggets' turnovers. They scored 23 points off of the Nuggets' turnovers, whereas the Nuggets scored 10 points off of the Clippers' 7. So, like I said earlier, I mean, that's your ball game right there, folks. It just that doomed the Nuggets tonight. So, all right, we're still waiting to hear from Demps. I believe he's wrapping up some TV stuff. As soon as he's done, he's going to call in and give his thoughts on tonight's game and what to expect for Game 7. Become a 2025-2026 Nuggets season ticket member and enjoy exclusive benefits like playoff presale access. Lock in your seats today and experience every moment of Mile High basketball. Visit nuggets.com to purchase. We will hit a quick timeout when we come back. Final thoughts on tonight's game, what to expect for game number 7 coming up on Saturday, and hopefully we're joined by the illustrious Christopher A. Dempsey from Altitude Television. That is coming up next. Game 7, everybody, for both the Avs and the Nuggets coming up on Saturday. The Nuggets will play tip-off at 5:30 at Ball Arena. The Avs and Stars will drop the puck a bit after 6. Yes, I know it is extremely ridiculous that the NHL and NBA could not figure out ways to separate these games a little bit more. I mean, this is just... I know I've been harping on this, but it bugs me because it's not fair to all of you, all of the great fans in this town and all over the world of these teams. It's just so ridiculous that they could not figure out a way to separate these games by a few hours even. It's half hour in between the start of the Nuggets and then the Avalanche. So, hopefully you've got a couple of devices that you can watch both games on because they're both going to be just extremely exciting. How about that for some playoff stress in your lives? 2 Game 7s for the Avs and Nuggets, the first time that's ever happened for both of these teams where they've played in a Game 7 on the same day, let alone them playing at basically the same time for their Game 7s. But, it is what it is. But like I said, it is down to this. Game 7 against the Clippers on Saturday at Ball Arena. Ticket holds are being released all the time, so visit nuggets.com/playoffs to buy tickets, but only one sports radio station is giving them away. Tune into Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 tomorrow all day for keywords on the 20s for your chance to win tickets to Game 7. Your home for Mile High Playoffs is Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. So make sure to get entered in to get a chance to go see the Nuggets take on the Clippers for free coming up on Saturday at Ball Arena. All right, Christian Braun. I thought he was really good tonight. Now, he only took 7 shots. The majority of those came in the third quarter. He was 5 for 7 from the field, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. Did hit both of his free throws, 14 points. Pretty good game from CB. I think he's been really good one-on-one for the most part defending James Harden, and I know you're probably sitting in your car or sitting at home saying, Dan, James Harden scored 28 tonight. Well, look, James Harden is still an elite offensive basketball player. I think the job Christian Braun has done on James Harden has been phenomenal in this series, and most of that has been one-on-one. I mean, they're not really double-teaming James Harden all that much. They're doubling Kawhi much more than they're doubling James Harden. So I think the job CB has done defensively in this series has been outstanding. Now, offensively, he definitely got off to a slow start, and I've talked about why that was. The Nuggets have, honestly, let's be real. Both of these teams have really struggled to score in transition. This has been a very half-court sort of series for both teams offensively. Kind of a slug-it-out style of basketball, which is okay. I think the Nuggets can win that way, but they were the number 1 fast break team in the NBA in the regular season, and I believe Christian Braun was the top transition scorer in the NBA regular season. So with it not being that sort of a series, CB did struggle to score the basketball early on in this series. Now, he's starting to shoot the ball better as this series has gone on, and it was much more effective from him tonight. In fact, let's go into the Nuggets locker room and hear from Christian Braun. Here is CB's post-game comments.
Christian, you get sloppy with the ball, you lose games. Is that the story tonight?
Yeah, I just think we didn't have it in the third quarter. We weren't tough enough. We weren't physical enough. And that's what happens. They played really well. They played a lot of minutes. They were tough. They were physical, and they beat us.
You've played in Game 7 before. You did it a year ago. What did you learn from that one that will help you in this one?
I'm just excited. I know it's going to be a fun game. I know the fans are going to bring it. I know the guys are going to bring it. We're going to be ready, but Game 7 is really fun for us, and especially at home. And I think that Coach even said tonight, the last 3 games of the year, we worked for Game 7 to be at home. So, we got to bring it, and I know we will.
When you say, and coaches say, bring the physicality, that on the offensive end too, not just defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's offensive, it's defensive physicality, and that all starts with me, and I think I didn't do enough of it, on both ends early, and I got to set the tone for Game 7.
DA talked about the 50-50 balls and then seemingly getting to all of them. Can you feel that in a game when every time the ball's loose, they're able to grab it? And then, I guess tough is that to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, the third quarter, they just kicked our ass, I think, in the 50-50 balls, and it seemed like every one of them they won. And that can't happen. That won't happen in Game 7, and we got to be better in that. We got to be more physical. We got to fly around, and I know we'll be ready.
David said that he feels like you guys, despite the loss, have momentum going into Game 7 because of the way the fourth quarter ended. What do you feel about that?
I agree. I think I said, last time we did this that when they came back, they had the momentum when they came to Denver, and we did a really good job of coming out and getting it, taking it back. So we might have the momentum and might feel great about ourselves maybe for the last quarter, but we do got to come out and reestablish, our physicality, and we got to bring it. We got to win every 50-50 ball. We got to be tougher. We got to play stronger, and we will.
Okay, there is Christian Braun in the Nuggets locker room after their 111-105 loss to the LA Clippers. Game 7 coming up at Ball Arena, 5:30 tip on Saturday. Let's bring in Christopher A. Dempsey from Altitude TV, who just wrapped up on the TV side, and he's a hardworking man, and he joins me on In the Paint right now. Demps, excellent job on TV tonight, you, Katie, and Hans. Demps, the Nuggets will win Game 7 if what?
If they can get back to, solid possession-to-possession execution. I think that the Clippers, what's funny about this, the box score when you look at it, Dan, is that if you just look at it in a vacuum, the Nuggets outshot them. They shot a better percentage of them. They made one more field goal than they did. The box score looks fine except for in two areas. One, the turnovers, the points off turnovers, 23 off of the 14. And then the free throws, the Clippers took more free throws, made more free throws than the Nuggets by about 6 or 7. So it's a little misleading, the Nuggets box score, because the Clippers, I thought, defensively were much more disruptive than they had been, certainly in the last two games prior to that. And so I just think for the Nuggets, it's about not being sped up. It's about, obviously, physicality is not just defense. I think we just did Christian Braun say that as well? You must get back to the things that made you successful. Game 5 was really, really good for them, and it looked like they turned a corner in this series. And I think offensively, schematically, they're still in a similar place to Game 5, but you got to turn up the execution, and hopefully also Nikola Jokic gets more than 2 free throws.
Yeah, and Demps, you're right, man. And what killed the Nuggets tonight was the turnovers, but not just that. It was the Clippers got 23 points off of those turnovers. The Nuggets got 10 points off of the 7 turnovers for the Clippers. I mean, look, I said this earlier, the box score here says 12, so I'm not exactly sure if it was 12 or 14, but either way, that's not like a huge number, right? I mean, that's
right.
Survivable. Like in Game 3, they had 20, so if you compare it to that, they actually did okay as far as the turnovers go. Now, 8 of those were in the second quarter, so that didn't help. After a good first quarter, you come into the second and turn the ball over 8 times. I just thought that really killed the Nuggets' momentum. But you're right, man. I mean, looking at the box score, like pretty much every area besides the free throw line and the turnovers, you would look at and say the Nuggets should have won this game. But Jamal Murray, Demps, he's got to be nuclear in order for this team to win. And I hate to say that, but this team goes as Jamal Murray goes, and as good as Joker is, and he is phenomenal, this team really hinges on the play of Jamal Murray. I think I said this earlier. I think if Jamal can get up to close to 30 points in Game 7, they'll win that game.
Yeah, I think the Clippers understand a couple of things about the Nuggets offensively, and that is, you cannot allow Jamal Murray to go on a heater the way he was in Game 5, and it looked, quite honestly, like in the first quarter, like he was going to do it again. And
it sure did.
Changed. And that changed in the second quarter. The Clippers, I think they took the challenge, to heart. They were not going to allow him to have any space anymore, and if they had to double him to get the ball out of his hands, they were going to do that. I think he had a number of assists in that second quarter. So they turned him from a scorer to a playmaker. And that look, he's making the right plays, but to your point, they need his points. And they need his consistent aggressiveness and consistent scoring throughout a game. And, the Clippers were able to blunt that here today. And then I thought also the Clippers understand that they can't have Michael Porter Jr. raining in threes on them. And I think they got physical with him. They hit him in the shoulder a lot. Norman Powell was very physical defensively on him, and they just took away his airspace all game long. And, if Jamal Murray has a mere mortal game, which, 21 points, that's what I'm going to call it. And then Michael Porter Jr. has been so ineffective that David Adelman doesn't even have him on the court at the end of the game. And the Clippers are going to feel like they've done their job and probably given themselves a really good chance to win a game. So I think those two individuals, to your point, Jamal Murray, my target points total for him would be like 25. And then just double digits for Michael Porter Jr. And, if a couple of those can be threes, that'd be great. I mean, obviously he's dealing with the shoulder, but those two guys need to be kind of the point players, to in support of Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I agree, Dems. I mean, I said earlier, if Michael can give you 12 on Saturday, that would be a huge boost. And, the problem with the Nuggets right now, Dems, is if Jamal's not going nuclear, we know Joker's going to be Joker, okay? So with that being said, if Jamal's not going off, who else on this team do you trust to be able to do that? Now, Russ actually did that in Game 5. It just so happened that both Jamal and Russ kind of went off in Game 5. So I guess Russell Westbrook could be that guy, maybe Aaron Gordon, but that's why Jamal is just so damn important to this team, man. Okay, so let me ask you this, Dems. You guys played it. Adelman's post-game press conference I thought was really interesting because he talked about how physical the Clippers are being with Nikola Jokic, and he didn't specifically call out the refs, but he basically did and said that it's insane that he only got 2 free throws. Look, it's the playoffs. They're going to let things go. I understand that. But I was in agreement with Coach Adelman, Dems. Like, Joker was getting bludgeoned in the painted area tonight and just couldn't get any sort of whistle. Why do you think it's so hard for Joker to draw fouls?
That's a really good question. And by the way, part 2 to that was he said he looks forward to because he said that they put a bunch of smalls on Joker and kind of beat him up, and he looks forward to doing the exact same thing to the Clippers stars on Saturday. And I was like,
that was an awesome line from Adelman.
Right. No doubt. But
awesome.
You know what? It's interesting. It's interesting to me because today usually I'm the guy that it says, hey, look, if Joker wants more fouls, he's got to play more time. He can't put up a bunch of jump shots. He did not put up a bunch of jump shots today. He, as a matter of fact, passed up a bunch of jump shots to get himself into the lane, to collapse the defense, to create for himself. And I'm not super sure why he didn't get the calls that he most certainly should have gotten today. But I do know that he has to force the issue again on Saturday because, now certainly, look, David Adelman put the refereeing, the officials on notice, and I just think, honestly, I think that's smart for a coach to do, especially when you're going into a Game 7. And then it's up to the players to force the issue and make the referees make the calls that should be made. And so, I think Nikola from the start of Game 7 has to look for his own shot, has to do it in a physical fashion in the paint, and then hopefully the refs don't swallow their whistles, because one of the things that I think we've seen across the NBA in this first round of playoffs, we've seen super physical play, and then we've seen these games where there's barely any fouls called. And so the inconsistency in how these games are refereed certainly is puzzling. And then for players that play a physical style like Nikola Jokic does, I mean, you got to be walking out with 8 to 10 to 12 free throw attempts every single night. And so, but I do think he can't lose his aggressiveness, and he won't. But you must force the officials to make the calls. I think they will, certainly early in Game 7.
Yeah, and you nailed it there, Debs. Like, the inconsistency of how they're officiating this series, how the hell are the players supposed to know? I mean, it changes from game to game. That just seems like so ridiculous to me and unfair to both teams, by the way, not just the Nuggets, to both teams. It's not fair because they don't really, understand what is and what is not going to be called on any given night. So you're right. It's just maddening. All right, last thing, Dems. The Nuggets were one of the best fast break transition teams in the regular season. Christian Brown, I believe, was one of, if not the leading transition scorer in the NBA in the regular season. But this series, neither team has really been able to get their transition game going a lot. One, has that surprised you that this series has been really more of a slugfest sort of half-court type of series? And two, do you think that is what contributed to Christian Brown's slow start in this series, because that's how he gets most of his buckets is in transition? Do you think that's kind of affected him as far as his production on the offensive end? Although I do think he was much better tonight shooting the ball, and hopefully that can carry over to Game 7. But what do you make of just sort of how this series has played out as far as not being super fast breaky, and more so being just sort of a slugfest, half-court, kind of grinded out type series?
Yeah, so let's take Christian Brown first. I think you're absolutely right. He is an energy player and on both sides of the ball, and he's usually creating the turnover and then scoring off of that turnover on the other side. The Clippers know that. And they're just simply getting back in transition. Dan, it's not surprising to me because, Nuggets teams in the past, almost every single one of them, especially the George Karl teams, they were so good at running. They just run the legs off of teams in the regular season. And then when you get in a series and a team, can hone in on what you do, the first thing that gets taken away, is any type of transition. Every team gets back if they get back all the time, and then you play in the half court. And can you survive in the half court? So no, I'm not surprised at all that the fast break scoring has gone considerably down for the Nuggets. It's too bad for Christian Brown because, to your point, it is how his biggest chunk of scoring is that. Now tonight he was able to knock in some 3-point shots. And that's going to be also key because the Clippers, leave him open and they dare him to shoot it. And so he's got to go ahead and knock those in. But usually what happens with these fast breaking teams in the playoffs is that they pretty well get stopped. And unless you're creating live ball turnovers, then your transition is going to be just greatly reduced. And I think that's where we are with the Nuggets. And so, if they can turn the Clippers over, which they didn't do a ton here today, if they can do that on Saturday, that'll give them some opportunities to be able to get out into the open court. And then part two of that is, 50-50 balls, get those, clear the defensive glass once you get a stop, and then give yourself an opportunity to get out and run. So it's easier said out of my mouth than done in an NBA game. But yeah, it's tough for these real heavy emphasis fast breaking teams to get that personality on the court in a consistent way once the playoffs begin.
Demps, great stuff, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Oh, before you go, so the Nuggets Clippers Game 7 tips off at 5:30 on Saturday.
5:30.
The Avs and Stars Game 7 puck drop at 6. What are we doing here? Like, this is driving me crazy.
Yeah,
how can the leagues not get this figured out? This is such a disservice to the fan base. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because they don't care. That's why. The leagues don't talk to each other about scheduling these games, and they just put them on the schedule. And it's just been a very terrible coincidence that there have been so many Avs and Nuggets games on the same day. But unfortunately for us, in other cities that have, 3 other cities that have, or at least started the first round with both the hockey and the basketball teams in the postseason. Unfortunately for all of us that live in those cities, the leagues are all looking out for themselves and not for the fans. So going to have a new TV setup, or a phone or an iPad or something to watch them both because it's going to be must-see TV in both those leagues on Saturday.
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Adam Silver and Gary Bettman, and I'll be nice, but it'll be very stern to the commissioners of both the leagues, because it's just like, and you said they don't talk to each other, and I believe you, but that's just insane to me. I mean, talk about like what would be best for each product is, hey, how about let the people in Denver have a chance to tune into one game and then tune into the next game. It doesn't make sense, but hey, it is what it is, man. Game 7 coming up on Saturday, 5:30, Nuggets and Clippers. Dempsey, thanks for coming on, man. Great job on the TV broadcast tonight with Hans and Katie, and we'll chat with you on Saturday. Thanks, man.
All right, sounds good, DT. We'll see you.
All right, there he goes. Chris Dempsey from Altitude Television there, breaking down the Nuggets and the Clippers. All right, that's going to do it for the postgame show tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back for Game 7 between the Nuggets and Clippers. And a reminder, tune in all day tomorrow to Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. We're giving away tickets to Game 7. We'll be doing keywords on the 20s all day. So make sure to tune in all day tomorrow to hear those keywords to get entered in for your chance to go to Ball Arena to see the Nuggets and Clippers Game 7. Clippers win Game 6, though, 111-105. This has been In the Paint right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.